What is up? We're here with another episode. We're going crazy this week. We're filming everything that happened from Disney's investor meeting that showed us that they were going to have 10 new Star Wars shows and 10 new Marvel shows. It's crazy. We're going to start with Ahsoka Tano having her own spin-off show that's taking place during the same time period as The Mandalorian. And you know what else is? Rangers of the New Republic show.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the one we know more about, which is Ahsoka Tano, because we know the character. What are your thoughts on the news? Did you kind of see this coming? I had heard
Yeah.
yesterday on Twitter for someone I trust that they were going to announce it. Well, yesterday now.
Mhm.
But what were your thoughts when you heard the news?
I mean, we were talking about this, what is it at this point, like 2 weeks ago, about like how her introductory episode in The Mandalorian was like set up so much potential storyline just with the question, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? And I know we were going back and forth like, on like, will Mandalorian address this in a future season, or are they just using this as a jumping off point? And it appears now they're using it as a jumping off point. And I mean, like, it's interesting because I there are times. Well, I remember when before she was announced in Mandalorian, the rumors started. I was kind of like iffy on her appearing because I was like maybe a Rebels sequel at most. Because I was like, her storyline has already been covered so much in depth. I was like, I wasn't sure where else they're gonna go, but honestly, like Chapter 13 from Mando, like reinvigorated like just the potential of like exploring this character and exploring this person. This is what happens when you stick with a character after so many years. You see them go through so much stuff. And I mean, Rosario Dawson, I think, did great. I think in Mando size, and we know she can hold her own. She's another very busy actress. It's directed by Filoni and Favreau, who's kind of like a reigning duo of Star Wars for a while now. So um, I trust that like it's gonna be okay. I trust like just Filoni alone. He knows that he created the character. He knows her so well. I'm intrigued. I'm excited. This Loki is a confirmation that we'll be seeing Ezra. We'll be seeing Thrawn. We'll be seeing Sabine. We'll be seeing I don't know. Hell is like Chopper like around. Like he could like pull up. This is like this Rebel sequel. Everyone was like I feel like kind of clamoring for, but also its own thing in its own way. I feel like especially since like we'll talk about it in our next video, but like Hayden Christensen back as like Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan show, like there's still now so much like overlap they could do since Ahsoka is gonna end up becoming a character that has spanned like all three generations of Star Wars. She was there during the Republic, she was there during the Rebellion. She's slowly on the hinge of the First Order and the Resistance. So very excited to see where they take her in the inevitable Rebel supporting cast.
Right, and it seems like a great progression for the character of Ahsoka Tano. You know, I know you and I grew up of the generation that watched her in the Clone Wars when Clone Wars was coming out on what was it, Cartoon Network? Um, and now we saw Rebels being a little bit older in animated form, and now as we're young adults now, it's live action, right? There
Right.
seems to be that progression that our generation of the fandom has really connected with.
Right.
To see her live action was, I mean, it was amazing seeing Rosario Dawson play the character. I mean, it's a bummer Ashley Eckstein couldn't, but
Mhm.
I understand, and I think it was a great passing of the baton. The series is fascinating. It's her pitted against Grand Admiral Thrawn. If any of you have read the Legends Thrawn books, the Heir to the Empire, I believe. No, not Heir to the Empire. I can't remember what the
I think
trilogy
it's
is
called
called.
the Thrawn
Thrawn
trilogy.
trilogy.
Yeah.
Um, where he's basically trying to take back the whole galaxy
Mhm.
from the New Republic. And he's just a strategic genius. And if you haven't seen Rebels or Clone Wars, you may not know. He has his own 3 books in canon now. I've read 2 of them. They're both great. The only problem I have is there's a difference between Thrawn in the books and Thrawn in the Rebels TV show. In the
Yeah.
Rebels TV show, he's a complete villain, whereas he's kind of a good guy, or at least has a good moral compass in the books.
Everyone's the
So
hero of their own story.
right, which is an interesting perspective. Um, I think it's really interesting. I think you already have a great villain in store and a great hero. So I think it's finding all that connective tissue. When does this take place in the timeline, right? Is this before Ahsoka meets Sabine at the end of Rebels, or is this after?
Right.
Um, is Ezra, like, if Thrawn's leading some sort of army, where is Ezra?
Right.
All these questions that need to be like, we need the answers to, that we've been having questions about since Rebels.
I wouldn't even be surprised if, like, let's say season 3 of Mandalorian, Mando kills like Moff Gideon, and Moff Gideon gives some sort of like last hint to for Thrawn, but it's like it's for the Ahsoka show. It's not for Mando to like pick up on. Um, yeah, this is one of the smartest characters in Star Wars, and so the fact that he is currently like in like an unknown region of space that they could add so much just on like a adventure storytelling level, and on the Force lore storytelling that like Clone Wars and Rebels like expanded on so well.
Right, and you can get into the Chiss. The Chiss are a fascinating species that live in the unknown region, hidden from the rest of the galaxy, who at one point, I believe, were in the midst of a civil war
Mhm.
after Thrawn left. So I think that's really fascinating. It's a bridge towards the Yuuzhan Vong, if they ever want to bring that in from Legends, which are amazing characters to be adapted to film one day. But
Yeah.
keeping it to this,
Sorry.
yeah, it's all good.
No, I just like again like let's say the show goes on for like 3 seasons, like The Mandalorian is about to like they really like she. I just have to want to emphasize Ahsoka Tano is really gonna like end up bridging this. She's gonna be like the sole character besides like R2D2 and 3PO who has traversed the entire eras that we have seen in Star Wars, and I feel like there's just so much to like learn. There's so much to like glean just from like how she's impacted and how she's like grown through each era. And I don't know, it's exciting just to see like just like the moments in Mandalorian when she like makes references to like Anakin's fall. Like she knows like she's seen so much of the big events that we've known from the movies, and so for her to bring that knowledge from generation to generation, I think that's going to be really exciting.
I 100% agree. And I think she did that in chapter 13. She carried the weight of how difficult of a life she's lived.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into this at the end, but there is a hint that there will be a culmination crossover of these 3 series: is Mandalorian, Ahsoka Tano. In the other series, we're going to talk about Rangers of the New Republic. It seems like Ahsoka Tano is going to be more heavily Filoni developing it, and Favreau kind of helping out.
Yeah.
And it's going to be probably the other way around with Rangers of the New Republic, I have a feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Ahsoka is Filoni's like daughter, and so like it would just make sense that he would continue to help like guide her on this path.
So let's talk about Rangers of the New Republic. This show takes place in the same time period. That's all they really said. Do you think this has Cara Dune in it? I kind of get that feeling. It would make sense why they gave her that badge in The Mandalorian for the rebellion. I don't think it was just a plot thing for episode 7.
Yeah.
Or chapter 15, depending on how you call it. But I think this is leading into her getting her own show. What are your thoughts on if that's the case? What are your thoughts?
I think we kind of said this. What was it? Chapter 12. If this was announced a year ago, I think there would have been a lot of hype around it. These days, however, Cara Dune's actress Gina Carano is like in such a precarious position, social media wise. Like I could very much see Disney like either one axing the potential spin-off of the spin-off with the Cara Dune thing, or like minimizing her role in the show. Like it says Rangers, like it's a broad term, so like I think it would make sense if Cara Dune did show up, like just that line in chapter 14 of Mando when she's like, I have rules to follow now. Like that's I feel like that's a very specific, deliberate line, like to help like for the character to say. But I also like I don't know, like there's so many people that are pushing back against Cara Dune these days. I mean that's a whole other discussion, but I wouldn't be surprised if Disney like rewrites her presence if she does have a presence on the show if need be. But I don't know. I would say it would focus more like not necessarily on I can't even remember what his name is. The pilot that's been reoccurring. The Asian
the guy from Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
Oh my
like
gosh.
I don't know his name. I'm not saying he would be the main character, but I'm saying like, it would be focused more on like the deputized like officials, not like stragglers from the outer rims like Cara Dune kind of was, like the like actual like either like rebellion heroes or like people who like just joined up like with the army naturally to help patrol this area. I
Right.
feel like that could be I feel like that could be the direction the show takes, and I feel like they could even take it as like an anthology series where it's just like let's say like they focus on a pack of like say 6 rangers and it's just them like navigating the galaxy. One, you get the world building that you and I enjoyed so well in chapter 10 of Mando, just exploring different worlds and ending up in different situations. And then you also just get um like building on the hints that like everyone's been saying in Mando season 2, the New Republic is weak, the New Republic is disorganized. The pilot I was just talking about, he says like no, there's something happening out here but the New Republic doesn't know. Like for as great as the organization New Republic is in the face of the Empire's fall, it appears that they're like barely holding it together. So I feel like them demonstrating like here are the people who are like kind of enforcing it, that could get into so many interesting conversations about like I wouldn't be surprised if like there's a storyline about like a ranger who's like being abusive towards this one like town to like maintain order or something, and the other rangers are like you can't do that type thing. Like in a way it's like Star Wars is this could be like Star Wars is like police force um show, and I feel like especially in face of like what's happened in 2020 with like the like reactions to police, like that could open up a lot of like social storytelling, which I know like Star Wars does so well. So I don't know, like Rangers of the New Republic, it's gonna be, I think the more I think about it, the more I'm like intrigued by the potential of just depicting these normal people like patrolling the galaxy.
Right. Here's my pitch. Iden Versio and the other person from Inferno Squad who defers with her. They are two of the main characters. You get Janina Gavankar in live action for the time period in between episodes 6 and 7. Janina Gavankar, they're like an investigative team that works with the guy from Kim's Convenience and The Mandalorian as the rebel pilot. Don't put Dave Filoni becomes a recurring character.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be so good.
Yeah, he wouldn't do that to himself, but John Favreau might
Yeah.
make him do it. But and put them together in an investigative team that is basically trying to find out what is going on with the Empire, because they're like in episode 7, Princess Leia is one of the only people that realizes that the Empire is reforming into the First Order and they're a real danger to the Republic. So having people like Iden Versio maybe connect with someone like Cara Dune, I think that can make a really interesting show.
Right.
It'd make me really, really excited. I love Janina Gavankar as an actress. If you've seen, the new Ben Affleck movie where he's a basketball coach, I like her in that role.
Way back.
The Way Back, she's great in The League. I love her character in Battlefront 2. And she's a former Imperial, a defector, right? Like Mayfield. But she was basically a Navy SEAL of the Empire. So you could get great action sequences with her and Gina Carano. You could get great piloting sequences with her and the guy from Kim's Convenience. And I think you can make a really interesting show about that and have the video games connecting to TV, and you just get all of this interconnectivity that will reward all the people who have been watching all of the Star Wars content over the years. And can you imagine how happy fans would be?
It's just true interconnectivity, true like, like I'm still like holding out for like Cameron Monaghan appearing as Cal Kestis and like Mandalorian or something. Like it's just true interconnectivity, like this like just connection of all media that like yeah, it would just be such a great like moment. My only thing about that would be like I'm more excited by the idea of like starting out with like new characters and then slowly roping in like the more established ones, just because I feel like then you can again just introduce characters with no legacy, no weight to like bear or whatnot.
I agree. I mean, I think Gina Carano like in my pitch, Gina Carano and Janina Gavankar would just lead the series.
Yeah.
And I think you'd introduce new supporting characters who maybe have more of a like a new story arc to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is all leading to one thing, because Kathleen Kennedy said that these three series will all culminate in a climactic story event. Story event was the word used, which is some sort of crossover between the three series. Is I think probably that will end it all. So that's why I think that the Rangers of the New Republic show may be leaning towards something that's more of investigating the First Order / the Empire, because it makes sense to tie in Ahsoka looking for Thrawn, the New Republic Rangers looking for the Empire around the galaxy, and then Mando trying to get the child, because what is the child's purpose for this new empire? Those three things combining, I think they fit towards making that climax of the event story, which you could get a massive thing, Thrawn trying to retake the galaxy, and maybe like an event movie on Disney Plus.
Yeah, well, my thing on that is that like, if like I know people who watch The Mandalorian but are like have no interest to watch like other Star Wars, like they're watching it because like it's new, it's like fresh, and they were like able to jump into it. Like they don't want to like they're not particularly motivated to watch Clone Wars, and so if like it's kind of like if you have the whole show hinge on this final crossover event, I feel like I don't know, it might be alienating. Like movies, it's okay, like as we saw with like Endgame, but like I feel with TV shows it's different. Like I would prefer if like the mystery of like what do they want with Grogu and on the Mandalorian and just the Mandalorian. It's like whatever. Like Thrawn, I could see crossing over to this event a thing just because it's Thrawn, but like I don't know. Like I would prefer if they took more like a Marvel Netflix approach with the Defenders, where like yes, it was influential and still like helped like inform like a lot of the upcoming seasons, but it didn't like totally detract. Like the only show like you would be at a loss with if you didn't watch Defenders was Daredevil season 3, but otherwise like it was more of like just more of like it wasn't like the whole end, if you get what I'm saying. It wasn't like the end all to be all.
Here's my thing. My thing is that I think they can do both. I think they can have that series event film or TV or episode or whatever they want to call it, or maybe it's its own season. I doubt it's its own season. I'd lean towards it'd be like a film.
Yeah.
And I don't think they leave anyone behind. Like, and the reason why is the Ahsoka Tano episode. Like my dad had never seen Ahsoka Tano before. He didn't feel left behind at all. The Bo-Katan episode didn't feel left behind at all. I think they have mastered the ability of the casual fan versus the hardcore fan, and making it so both people feel like they have an accessible avenue.
Fair enough.
So I think they could make it so if you're someone who just watches The Mandalorian and you watch that event, you're like, I know what's going on. I'm filled in from The Mandalorian. Or if you just watch the Ahsoka Tano, you're filled in from Ahsoka Tano, and you get to see that character, and it doesn't take away from it. It adds to it. I think they can do that.
Okay, fair enough.
But let's wrap up. They said the next season of Mando is coming out Christmas 2021. I think this is the case because they're probably starting to, in the middle of production, and it just is going to take a little bit longer with COVID, and as well as developing these spin-off shows takes a lot of time. So it's a little bummer that we'll have to wait a little longer, but there's going to be a lot of Marvel shows, which we're also talking about, that will be dropping as well. So Disney Plus is definitely worth the price of admission.
The streaming wars have begun.
And everyone else except for Disney Plus.
Here it goes.
Ooh, the shivers are coming. So the last thing, they're building 3 more volumes. I just want to talk about this. This is crazy. They said another one in LA. They built a larger one for Mandalorian season 2 this year. And they're building another one in LA, one in London, I think, which is probably already built. I have a feeling. And I think the one in Australia is either being built right now for not just their Star Wars, but also for Marvel series like Thor: Love and Thunder. I have a feeling it might also be used for, because Taika was on the set of The Mandalorian, so he may have fallen in love with the tech.
Right.
So I think that's really cool. It's really innovative. It's going to make storytelling more efficient and hopefully less expensive, which I think that's good for everyone. That means you can get more stories and be really creative. And I love that. All right. With that, that wraps up this episode of talking about the Ahsoka Tano spin-off series, The Rangers of the New Republic, and how it all ties together in the era of The Mandalorian. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below if you have anything you want to say, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.